Joining us for Primetime Local News is Renee Chiloe with Hope Haven Society. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. So, for International Women's Day today, the Alberta Council of Women's Shelter has a campaign to highlight the essential work done by shelter staff across the province. Can you tell me more about the Shelter Superstars campaign?
Yeah, totally. So I specifically work in a women's shelter in Laklavish, Hope Haven. I work with the kids, so my role is child support worker. And so this campaign was just to highlight some of the awesome things that we get to do as shelter staff and just how we are able to function so well as witnesses to what women are going through.
And where did ACWS get the idea for this campaign?
I think it was just a way, I don't fully know, I'm just a nominee, but I think it was just a way to highlight the work that women are doing during the pandemic and shelter workers are doing during the pandemic. The pandemic has really cut off our ability to communicate as a group and gather together in the ways that we typically do. And shelters haven't closed during the pandemic. We're still working. We're exposing ourselves when we want to because we know our work is important. But it was just to kind of pat people on the back and say, "Hey, we see the work that you're doing, and keep it up."
And what's going to be all a part for this Shelter Superstars campaign for showing people what a typical day looks like for domestic violence shelter workers?
I think a big part of it is just to highlight how every day is different for those of us working in shelters. Um, on any given day, I could be uh, helping a kid get ready for school, feeding a kid. I could be doing a craft. I could be talking to a woman about her story and about her past. I could be doing danger assessments. We could be picking up groceries. Today I was painting, so my hands are covered in paint. Every day is completely different. So it was just to highlight the varied nature of our work.
And earlier in this interview, you were saying that you were a nominee. How did it feel to be nominated for this campaign?
It felt like just very encouraging to be recognized for the work that I do. I love my job, and it can get very, very intense, especially as someone who's working with kids. And I get to carry a lot of their stories and hear what's going on with them. So it was a really encouraging thing to be recognized for the work that I do.
And being a child support worker yourself, why do you believe this campaign is so important to have in the community, especially for International Women's Day?
Well, a bit of a history about shelters. Shelters started off as a grassroots movement. So it wasn't big organizations, it was just groups of women who got together, who saw the issues about domestic abuse in their homes, in their lives. Many of these women were survivors. And so I think it's really, really, really important to highlight the work that shelters do and shelter workers do because we're hidden, we're not able to be seen. And this is a big issue, especially during the pandemic. Women are stuck at home. They're not able to go to church, go to the grocery store as much, go to school meetings and events. And these are things that were often a saving grace for women experiencing violence. So I think a campaign like this is really important to highlight that we're here, we exist, we haven't closed, we're still here to offer support to women and families in need.
And where exactly can people find this campaign online?
So if you go to the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters Facebook page, you can see it there. And if you also need any other resources, like you're trying to connect with a shelter, if you go to their Facebook page or their website, you can see a map of all the different shelters located across Alberta and get contact information for those shelters.
And is there anything else you want to add for people to know about?
If you're ever in a situation where you're thinking that there might be something going wrong in your relationship, feel free to call a women's shelter, even if it's just to vent, to talk about what's going on. It's really, really important, especially times like these where we're very isolated.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Renee.
Of course, thank you.